Breaking news! Something is happening behind the scenes in Baltimore that has fans leaning in, analysts smirking knowingly, and insiders practically confirming it without saying the words. It's one of those moves that feels so obvious, so inevitable, you almost wonder why it hasn't already been announced. The kind of decision that could quietly strengthen the Ravens' defense in a big way, yet barely anyone outside the fan base is talking about it. But before we move on, make sure you hit that like button if you're a true Ravens fan. It's always amazing to see fans of all ages supporting this team. And if you feel like it, comment, "Go Ravens," because trust me, you're going to want to weigh in on this one. Now let's get straight into it. Veteran defensive lineman Brent Urban is back in the spotlight, and it's not a surprise to anyone who's been paying attention. According to insider Jeff Zrebiec, Urban is scheduled to visit the Ravens in the coming days. But let's be honest, this doesn't feel like a visit. It feels like a reunion. Urban's relationship with Baltimore is more than just a contract or a roster spot. It's tradition, its reliability, and its depth. Urban has already had 2 stints with the Ravens and remains a fan and organizational favorite. The question isn't whether he'll sign. It's when the ink will hit the paper. Every offseason, this narrative plays out the same way. Urban comes in on a short-term deal, fans and analysts wonder if he'll even make the roster, and then, almost like clockwork, he does. Not only does he make the roster, he makes his presence felt. Plays in the trenches, key stops, and that calming veteran leadership you can't teach. When the name Brent Urban is mentioned, it's about more than depth, it's about reliability. There's a comfort level there that the team and the fans understand all too well. And let's put it in context. The Ravens' defensive line has seen some key losses, none bigger than Michael Pierce. But Urban's name always comes up in those conversations too, and for good reason. The team expected to bring him back, and now that time has come. The visit is more ceremonial than anything else. What kind of conversation really needs to happen here? The Ravens know Urban. Urban knows the Ravens. It's practically a handshake deal. Even Ravens content creators like Catan Season are in on the inevitable. In response to Zrebiec's report, he joked, "Just say he's already been signed, Jeff." LOL. We know what's happening. And Jeff, he didn't deny it. "You're right," he said. "I don't think a whole lot of talking will have to take place here given the familiarity." That's not speculation, that's confirmation in everything but name. But why now? Why does Brent Urban matter this offseason? Because depth wins championships. It's not always about the stars. It's about the guys who can come in, do their job, and not miss a beat. Right now, the Ravens' defensive line is solid, but thin. You've got quality with players like Justin Matabike, Travis Jones, John Jenkins, Broderick Washington, and rookie Anyes Peoples. But it still feels light, especially when you factor in the grind of a full NFL season. Urban doesn't need to be a headline. He just needs to be dependable. He doesn't need to lead the team in sacks. He needs to hold his gap, occupy blockers, and bring veteran IQ to a position that thrives on physicality and awareness. And that's exactly what he's done, year in and year out, under this Ravens system. As we continue, let's dig deeper into what Brent Urban's return could truly mean for the Ravens' defensive structure heading into the 2025 season, and why this signing, subtle as it may seem, could end up being one of the more impactful depth moves Baltimore makes this year. When we talk about Brent Urban, we're not talking about a flashy pass rusher or a guy who dominates highlight reels. We're talking about a player who understands the nuances of trench warfare in the NFL. The type of player who doesn't miss assignments, who plays smart, who absorbs double teams so others can shine. Urban's effectiveness has never been about raw numbers. It's been about the little things that don't show up on stat sheets but make a big difference on game day. And that's exactly why this move makes so much sense. The Ravens are not short on top-end talent up front. Justin Matabike is a Pro Bowl caliber player. Travis Jones continues to develop into a dominant interior force. John Jenkins adds experience, and Broderick Washington is another steady presence. Then there's Anyes Peoples, the rookie with intriguing upside who fans are already buzzing about. But outside of that top rotation, the Ravens were thin. One injury to a key player, and suddenly you're dipping into untested depth. Enter Brent Urban, a player who already knows the scheme, knows the expectations, and can plug in immediately without needing any adjustment period. That's rare. Urban's return offers a security blanket in a high-contact, high-risk position group where injuries are almost guaranteed. And if there's one thing we know about Urban's previous stints, it's that when his number is called, he answers. There's also something to be said about locker room chemistry. Urban isn't just a guy who fills a gap. He brings veteran leadership to a defensive front that's starting to blend experience with youth. He's the kind of player who helps rookies like Anyes Peoples learn what it takes to be a pro in Baltimore. He's a bridge between eras. He played under past defensive coordinators. He's battled alongside names like Brandon Williams, and now he'll be right there as the next wave steps into their own. And speaking of stepping up, how about the expectations being placed on this defensive unit as a whole? With Roquan Smith and Kyle Hamilton eyeing potential DPOY-level seasons, and with Mike Green flashing serious promise as a rookie, the defense is not just expected to hold the line, it's expected to dominate. Urban won't be asked to lead the charge, but he will be asked to do his job, and do it well. That kind of role player, that kind of consistent presence, can be the difference between a unit that's great on paper and one that's great on Sundays. This move also reinforces something fans have known for years. Eric DeCosta and the Ravens front office understand the value of continuity and familiarity. While other teams are out making splashy signings or swinging big trades, the Ravens quietly bring back a player who fits perfectly, costs little, and gives them exactly what they need. It's not flashy, but it's smart, and that's the Ravens' way. What's even more interesting is how this impacts roster battles in training camp and preseason. With Urban back, someone else will have to fight even harder to make the 53. The defensive line room is more competitive now, and that's exactly the kind of internal pressure you want leading into the season. Iron sharpens iron, and the presence of a seasoned vet like Urban only elevates the standard for everyone around him. And while fans might see this as a small headline, it could have big ripple effects. With more stability up front, Mike McDonald and the defensive staff can get even more creative with their blitz packages. Urban's presence lets the coaching staff rotate guys more strategically, keep legs fresh, and maintain pressure deep into games. So now the question becomes, will Urban's return be enough to shore up the depth, or will Baltimore continue shopping for even more reinforcements before Week 1 kicks off? Are the Ravens putting full trust in the current rotation, or is this just the first step in a few more defensive tweaks to come? Veteran defensive lineman Brent Urban is on his way back to Baltimore again. And while that might sound like a routine roster update to the casual observer, Ravens fans know better. This isn't just another free agent visit. This is Brent Urban we're talking about, a player whose career has become tightly woven into the fabric of the Ravens' defensive identity. When news broke, courtesy of Jeff Srebiak, that Urban was visiting the team, it felt more like someone coming home than a transaction. Urban has already worn the purple and black in multiple seasons, and each time he returns, he proves he's not just a body on the depth chart, he's an asset, a dependable, smart, physical piece of the puzzle that's helped this team hold the line through injuries, adversity, and playoff pushes. The Ravens know exactly what they're getting in Urban. They don't need to evaluate him in the same way they would a new signing. There's no steep learning curve, no scheme adjustment, no mystery. He fits. He always has. Which is exactly why insiders and fans alike are treating this visit as a mere formality. This is what Baltimore does. They identify reliable veterans who understand the culture, and they keep them close. Especially in a season where the defensive line is looking to solidify its depth behind standout performers like Justin Matabike, Travis Jones, and Broderick Washington. But here's the real intrigue. Urban isn't just returning to help fill a spot. His presence unlocks something critical: flexibility. He allows the Ravens to manage snaps across the front, preserve legs deep into the season, and most importantly, maintain physicality at the line of scrimmage even when rotations shift. Young players like Anyas Peoples and Mike Green are showing promise, but it's veterans like Urban who bridge the gap between potential and execution. He knows what it takes to survive a 17-game season, and he knows what this system demands. That's why bringing Urban back is more than nostalgia, it's strategy. And as Baltimore eyes a deep postseason run, every roster spot matters. So the question is, do you think Urban's return gives the Ravens the edge they need in the trenches? Or is this just one of many moves still to come before the regular season kicks off?